the car. I just want other people to not be able to have it. And I just want to be able to say, look, I can spend $6 million on WhatsApp in 10 minutes.
Who are these other people?
Other rich people who have to think about it or finance it or contemplate it
Correct.
or sell a house.
Right.
I just want to be able to like, bing, bing, took it. Ha, ha, ha.
Instant gratification, impulsive? What?
I think it's just about the others losing. I think the world has tried very hard to breed this out of men, but I am unapologetic about it. And I'm not afraid to admit it that I am absolutely interested in conquest. I'm interested in peacocking my feathers and being the best. I'm interested in showing off. I'm interested in alpha male high. Look at me. I have everything. I can do everything. Look at me. This is who I am. And they say that this is all bad and toxic masculinity, but that's again, just a massive psyop. The entire world was built off the back of toxic masculinity. All the high buildings in Mumbai are built by men who want to prove themselves and say, look what I can do. I can literally go and build a building that's 100 stories high. You need an ego. And I'm ego driven and ego fueled, and I don't let it control me, but satisfying my ego makes me happy, and feeling pride makes me happy.
How do you prevent the ego to sabotage you?
Well, the ego sabotages you when you allow it to delude you. And this is what a lot of people do, because they'll have an ego without the real world accomplishments, and then they become deluded, and then they become non-competitive. To remain effective, you need to be very firmly in the real world. I have a massive ego, but I'm also a realist. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm bad at. I don't apologize ever for saying what I'm good at, and I will sit here and admit the things I cannot do. But as long as you have feedback that you're going to take on board and you have a good team around you and you're also self-analyzing all the time, then you can remain a realist and an egotist, and then I think you'll do very well. The masculine ego has built the entire world. It's the reason nearly every single man ever went to war and conquered anything. The masculine ego, in fact, it's very interesting. I was talking to a girl the other day, and I was saying that men crave adventure more than women. She was saying, oh, no, I like adventure. I don't just want to sit at home. I like to go out and explore things and go to restaurants, etc. I said, no, what you like to do is run around, go into restaurants and going shopping. You call that an adventure. Masculine adventure is the men who decided to go to Antarctica and freeze to death. There's no shopping. There's no sushi. Yeah. They just felt like they had to do it to satisfy their ego and to place their names in the history books.
True.
So there's something inside of every man that feels that, and they try and breed it out of men because they're afraid of that masculine spirit, because that masculine spirit is hard to conquer, and they want to conquer us all. But I have no problems admitting that I am motivated by the dark of the yin and the yang, and I have no problems admitting that my ego motivates me and that I'm motivated by pride, and I like to feel proud, and I do things that allow me to feel proud. And as long as I stay realistic and I don't become egocentric, then I feel like it makes me as competitive as possible.
So you keep upskilling yourself?
Well, you have to always push the limits, right? What's the point in living otherwise?
What are you doing right now to just keep yourself up?
Well, this is the thing. It's in general. It doesn't matter if you go to the gym and you try and lift more weights. It doesn't matter if you try and make more money that you can't possibly spend.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you need more beautiful children. Yeah. You always need something to do, right? And you always need somewhere to push. They say when you retire, you die. I would argue that's probably true. Or sharks die.
No, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, of course it's true.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of men out there who perhaps are battling with themselves because the matrix and system has told them, no, you're not supposed to think that way. You're not supposed to be that way. You're egotistical. You're driven by pride. You should get rid of all that. And you should, I don't know what, become soppy goo instead, just some porridge mess that the matrix can program. But no, you're supposed to wake up and look in the mirror and say, this is my name. This is who I am. I'm going to be the best version of myself, and everybody's going to respect me, and I'm going to force them to, because that's the way the world works. Respect can be squeezed out of people. They don't have to like you. You can't squeeze someone liking you. You can't grab space-time from the universe and force everybody to like you, but you can force everybody to respect you, whether they want to or not. All of my haters respect me. They sit there, this guy's so bad, so bad, so bad. But they can't say I'm unsuccessful. They can't say I'm not intelligent. They can't say I'm not rich. I'm still worthy of all their time and attention. They've dedicated their lives to me, so I forced them to respect me. If I was a nobody, then they wouldn't be reporting on this garbage case of mine. So you can force respect from people, and this is actually most observable with women. There's a whole lot of women who are dating men they don't even like.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping with men they don't even like, but they respect him.
Because it's the security that they offer, right?
That's right. The security they offer and the respect. And they can say, I don't even like him that much. In fact, I hate him, but I just do as he says. Why is that? Because they respect you. So I'm driven by that. And I guess, I've talked to psychiatrists, and there's some psychiatrists who would argue that it's insecurity to feel like you need to prove yourself to the world all the time. And I think that's part of the psyop. They convince you, you're insecure if you want to prove you're capable. if you want to prove that you're different and intelligent and interesting, you're insecure.
They always say that you're born abundant any which ways. Then why is the rest of the world poor?
Well, there you go. Yeah. But they say you should have no interest in what people think about you. That makes you insecure. And that is the largest psyop in history, to wake up and say, I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be strong. I'm not going to be interesting. I'm not going to go out there and test myself. And I'm not going to put honor on my last name, because I would hate for people to think I'm insecure. I'm secure. So it doesn't matter if you think I'm a loser, and it doesn't matter if I am a loser. So I'm just going to sit at home and I'm secure. No, it's not insecurity. It's called duty to your last name and honor. And that's just another one of the many different tentacles inside of the psyop octopus, trying to snatch any motivation left from the masculine spirit. If I was a man who was unsuccessful and I hadn't met my physical capability or my financial capability or my mental capability or my spiritual capability, I would be insecure. I would sit and say, this is a failed version of who Andrew Tate could be, and I'm not happy with who it is. And I think that every man should be like that, so he gets up off his ass and does something.
But how do you have such incredible self-worth? Obviously, it was instilled within you, because we are the sum total of our parents, right? In the first 7 years of our life.
I think so, yes. But also, competence is confidence. I think they go hand in hand. You're going to be confident in doing things you're good at. And I understood I had to get good at things from a very young age. And I was challenged from a very young age to constantly test myself in endless competition. My whole life has been competition.
Correct.
It was chess tournaments from a very young age.
Yeah.
And then it was professional fighting. My whole life's been a massive competition.
Right.
And I understood that there's winners and losers. And that's how the world operates. To this day, right now, it's the same thing. And you just get good at the idea of competition. I think there's a lot of people out here who don't realize they're in a fight, or they know they're in a fight, but they want to ignore the fact they're in a fight, because they don't want to have to accept that they're losing. So they wake up and say, oh, I'm just a man living life.
Bro, they're too comfortable.
They're too comfortable. No,
bro, I will. Experience.
You need the bad things also, just as we talked about earlier about haters, and you need the light and the dark and the yin and the yang, thousands of years old. You need the two. This is what's very interesting. The point you made is very, very, very pertinent. There's a lot of people who complain about the bad things that happen in their life, not understanding that without the bad things, you'd have no life at all. You need all of the bad things. You need the mental struggle. You need to go through things which you regret. You need to sit there so that if you've never regretted any action you've ever taken, how can you sit and make a intelligent decision for the future? You can't do it. You need to sit and say, well, I felt the sting of regret for X. I don't want to feel the sting of regret for Y. You need this experience. And that's what life is all about. People think that life is just the good times. And this is the massive misconception. Love is a perfect example. Let's use love. Because people think being in love is holding hands and I hold hands and we cuddle in bed. I love them. Love is the whole spectrum. Love is missing them. Love is breaking up with them. Love is being sad they don't text you. Love is the whole circle. There's no up without down. Anything that has the ability to emotionally affect you positively has the ability to emotionally affect you negatively. There's nothing in the world that can only affect you in one direction. Even something as asinine and stupid as an object. We'll go back to cars because I used it earlier. If I buy a car for 6 million euro and it makes me very happy, if that car sets on fire at random, I'm going to be extremely angry. This is what happens. If it's a Nissan, it won't make me happy. But if it sets on fire, I won't be sad. They're directly correlated. Anything in the world that makes you happy that you currently have, whether it's a person, whether it's a job, whether it's a scenario, whatever it is, also has the exact inverse capability to make you extremely angry. So you have to accept this about
You're quite detached, man. You're quite detached from everything that you also own. You say you love it, but at the same time, you're okay with letting go.
Well, that's because I think I have confidence in myself to get it all back. And that's also because I have quite a lot of emotional control. And then perhaps maybe I'm a little bit of a sadist. I don't know. But when bad things happen to me,
you love it.
I kind of enjoy it. And I think that maybe it's perhaps I just enjoy it for the story. Perhaps my whole life is not about trying to find comfort. It's trying to find challenges, and it's trying to find stories. I'll be very honest with you. Even in jail, my brother and I kept saying, this is probably the best story, one of our best ever stories. That's what life is about to me. And if you were to say to me right now, Andrew, do you want to spend a year living in comfort and flying around the world and sleeping with girls and doing whatever, or do you want to spend a year in a jail in Mongolia? I'd probably choose the jail. Maybe I'm a sadist. Maybe I'm nuts. But for me, it's all about the challenges. It's not about the comforts. That's what I'm interested in. And I want to have stories to die with. So when bad things happen.
But then what happens to your wife? What happens to your kids.
Exactly. That's part of the story.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best parts.
All right.
What's going to happen to them?
Yeah, dude.
Maybe will she stay loyal? Of course, I'm the top G, but come on. But what happens to her? What happens to my kid? How much did I miss my child when I couldn't see them? How did they get to Mongolia to even come visit me? Was I allowed visits? What, did I get in a fight in there? Did I die in jail? Who knows? But this is the whole point. Maybe I'm just addicted to the idea of having stories worth telling, because I think if your life just goes well all the time, you know what's really interesting, because the world's so changed.
Sorry, I'm going to cut you out over here, but have you programmed them?
Have I programmed myself to think that way?
Yeah. Programmed your wives, your kids, that this is that I'm going to go through right now. You guys better be prepared.
Well, I think anyone who's with me understands that it's a possibility.
Yeah.
There's certainly a chance that something bad can happen at any time. They're very concerned. My woman says to me every single night, like, I hope you wake up tomorrow without a police raid. Like, it's just, who knows, right? It's unpredictable.
It's stressful, dude.
And it's stressful for the woman more than me, because I'm at peace with all of this. In fact, I truly enjoy it. And this ties into what I was about to say. I think that, like, I can tell you a story. 10 years ago, maybe, I bought my first Lamborghini. When I bought that Lamborghini, I was in England. I bought it in London. I was still in Luton a lot because my mother lived there. That was talk of the town. Everyone talked about it. Everyone cared. Facebook was on fire. Tate has a Lambo. Yeah. It was a big deal. Every time I parked it anywhere, there was crowds around it. Every time I was driving, people took videos of it, etc. And that was in England, a wealthy country. Here we are 10 years later. We're in Bucharest, Romania, technically the poorest country in Europe. You'll see a Lambo every 5 minutes and nobody cares. Nobody cares. So I feel like all the light and all the positive, now that social media has shined so much light on people's lives, and what people do is they curate their lives to only show the positive, right? So you can have people with very normal jobs and basically no money. But if you look at their Instagram feed, they look rich because they've taken that one time they went to dinner and they got the 25 different angles, and they went on 2 holidays that year. And
Bro,
they got all the...
I used to do that years back. But when I had my awakening, I was like, this is... Because now that I can actually afford it, I never even felt the need to put that up on my Instagram.
If you win, you manifested it. Fantastic. If you lose, you would have spent so much time imagining it that you're really going to want it. And because you're really going to want it in your mind, you're going to be more motivated to work hard than ever before. Most of you do not use your mind for what it's for. You've forgotten how to imagine things. But you cannot close your eyes and vividly imagine. You can't give yourself goosebumps. You can't evoke an emotion in yourself anymore. This is an age-old skill that humans had very recently up till social media. You should be able to close your mind and imagine the life you want to live so viscerally, so to the point where you can taste it, so that this reality, the one outside of your mind, feels like nothing but a prelude, a ramp, which allows you to get where you want to go. The mind is that powerful. If you ask any champion of anything, they always envision themselves as champion all of the time. And the reason they do that is, 1, so they feel confident, but 2, so that if they don't become champion, they're more angry and more motivated for the next attempt to ensure that they do become champion. So that's the mentality and the mindset you have to have. Your mind is your number one ally in all things. A lot of you have been sabotaged internally by your own mind. Your own psyche is working against you. When you have negative thoughts that prevent you from being the best version of yourself, you should understand that your mind is attempting to betray you, and you should feel disgust because you have enough enemies. There are enough people in that opposing trench trying to destroy you. If you're watching this and listening to this right now, I promise you, if I were to give a button to most humans on this planet, if I were to go up to an average man, 25-year-old man of average income anywhere in the world, and say, if you press this button, this guy's going to die. And I'll show a picture of you holding your dog, cuddling, being a nice little boy, whatever you're doing. I'll make you look sweet and innocent. I'll say, if you press this button, this guy dies, but you get $100 million. You do understand that 99.9% of people will press that button, right? And they'll take that 100 million without remorse. They won't really think about you very much. And if they do, they'll distract themselves with a Lamborghini and with bitches. That's it. They won't care about you. There's enough people in the opposing trench who are prepared to destroy you for self-interest that the idea of you not having every single part of you on your own side is truthfully sad. You need to be in a better position than that. You cannot allow your own mind to betray you ever. It has to be 100% on side all of the time. Once your mind is on side, once every part of your psyche is on your team, that's when you can go and look for other teammates. You can expand your network of other people whose psyche is all 100% on their side, and you have a unified outlook on the world. Then you can go and get things done. But the idea of self-betrayal is something most of you are struggling with and you didn't even realize. So as a thought experiment, we're going to sit here and I want you to actually think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself? How many times have you didn't feel like doing something you knew you were supposed to do? How many times has your mind tricked you into procrastination or being lazy? How many times has your mind convinced you that it was okay to fail and lose even though you didn't try your best? How many times have you sought comfort in excuses? How many times have you betrayed yourself? Don't worry about your enemies attempting to crush you. That's another conversation. If you actually analyze most of your failures, you're going to see the majority of them come from self-sabotage. And once you're in a position like me where you never betray yourself, where your mind never lets you down, ever. My mind knew exactly what I had to do. I did not miss a single day's training. I did not lose my mind. I did not go mental. I did not have a breakdown. I acted exactly as I was supposed to act. I was fully professional in all things. I got as much work done as I could possibly do. I was extremely productive. I used the experience for what it was. My mind never betrayed me. If you listen and look back on most of your failures, you're going to see that it was your own mind that betrayed you. It wasn't your enemies that tricked you. It wasn't your enemies that outmaneuvered you or outsmarted you. Most of you are not yet at high enough echelon to even have enemies of caliber. You were simply self-betraying. And until you identify that pattern and get yourself in the habit of ensuring that is impossible, then you're always going to lose against people who fully believe in themselves. You know, one of the things that stupid people have that makes stupid people quite successful sometimes is irrational self-belief. And the smarter you are, sometimes the harder it is to irrationally believe in yourself. But if you're dumb enough, you can be arrogant enough to have this irrational self-belief, and you will see some people be very successful, and you say, how is this idiot successful? Because they're so stupid that they don't consider the idea of failure. Their mind isn't advanced enough. They are not cognitive enough to consider betraying their own being. They only see outside. They don't self-reflect. If you're intelligent enough to self-reflect, you need to do it so that you can come up with feedback so that you can constantly improve, but be very aware of the trouble that can come from a mind that's not 100% on your side. My mind is 100% on my side in all ways. If I have to do something difficult, even if my body can't do it, my mind believes I can do it all the time. And you'd be amazed how much of life, even in the physical realm, is mental. If you believe you can run a marathon, you can run a marathon. If you don't believe you can run a marathon, you can't run a marathon, because a marathon is hard. And by believing in it, by truly believing you can do it, then you will your body to a different level than if you don't believe you can do it. It's the same with absolutely all things, including making money, including the gym, including dealing with mental struggle. Anxiety is self-betrayal. Panic is self-betrayal. Procrastination is self-betrayal. Laziness is self-betrayal. Lacking motivation is self-betrayal. All of these things are self-betrayal. Most of you, your largest enemy on the planet today is yourself. You are the one who is destroying your own prospects because you don't have your own mind under control. And one of the things that's crazy about the world is your mind is one of the few things you can control. You can't control very much else. You can only control your mind. It's the only thing you have control over. So if you don't control it absolutely, you're going through life with no control over anything. You don't control your own mind, which means by extension, you do not control your life. You do not control your woman. You do not control the weather. You don't control nothing. You're just an empty vessel going through life with zero control over anything. You can control, once your mind's in check, your reaction and attitude to things. When you're in the trenches, there's people who give up. There's people who quit. There's people who sow FUD. There's people who feel sorry for themselves. There's people who want an easy way out. And there's other people who say, listen, this is a test. And the only way we're going to get this done is to be irrationally positive all of the time. He's like, well, what can I do about the price of Bitcoin? Perhaps nothing. But the universe may reward you karmically if you at least try to do something positive. Go for a walk. Go for a run. Burn some calories. Why don't you go down to the nearest grocery store and buy the old lady's groceries? How about that? You're unhappy that Bitcoin's gone down. Fine. What I recommend you do, although you may not understand this because you don't see them as linked, but karmically, all things are linked inside of this universe. Go down to the local grocery store and buy some groceries for an old lady. That's what you should do to fix the Bitcoin price. Now, will that genuinely affect the Bitcoin price? I don't know. It's amazing how this world works. Perhaps in some strange version of events, that slight delay in her thanking you and her getting in the car ends up leading to an increase in the Bitcoin price. But even if it doesn't, perhaps you'll learn something about not being so attached to money. Perhaps you'll feel grateful and understand you have a lot more spare money than you thought in the first place. Perhaps your attitude to the world will change, which will allow you to be more open-minded so that you can approach opportunities in a different way so that you make more money later on. Karmically, it's impossible for us to tangibly link how that positive action will lead into something else positive in your life later on. We just have to have faith that it will, because it will. So when I said this to this guy, he's like, LOL. That's his reply. He replied LOL when I said he should go buy groceries for somebody. And he doesn't understand the world. And I thought, well, why don't I go speak to thousands of people and talk positive then? Not to save him, but just to put my money where my mouth is, just to prove that you can just do something good. And if you just do something good, it is better than doing nothing. Rain dances work. If you need it to rain, you shouldn't sit and pray. You shouldn't sit and hope. You shouldn't sit and complain that it's not raining. You shouldn't sit and wait. You should rain dance. Does a rain dance make clouds appear? No, but you should take action. Perhaps your rain dance, although will not make clouds appear, will be viewed by a tribe high on the mountain far away, and they'll look down seeing you rain dance and realize that you need water. And then maybe Providence and luck will have this tribesman appear with big barrels of water saying, we think you might need water and we have some spare. If you didn't rain dance, they wouldn't know. They just see you sitting around being a mopey dipshit, crying his eyes out. That's why it's so important to take action in all things. Action solves all. Raw action is the answer. Raw action solves all. It is a mindset. So this dipshit complaining about the crypto price, he's not prepared to rain dance. He's not prepared to help a granny with her groceries. He's not prepared to do anything. God does not reward men that way. God rewards men who attack the world. You have to go and get things. You have to show that you deserve them. Even in mating, men go get the woman. Men go get money. Men go take land. Men go. We go and happen to the world. The world doesn't happen to us. What did we say earlier about if you try your absolute best, you can always find the W even in the L? I tried my absolute best. So I win. Raw action solves all. If you had that kind of attitude, you wouldn't be looking at a crypto price and sitting there praying and hoping like a dork. You'd be doing something about it. Oh, I need your help. Do you? I don't even see you trying. And that's how God views things. That's how, in fact, most wealthy people view things. I haven't seen you do anything that warrants me giving you a second of my help. People feel like rich people are horrible because we don't help the normies. Even if you try and help normies, most of them are beyond help because they are self-sabotaging and lazy. You have to at least show to the people who are important in the world that you're not those things in the beginning if you ever want to be taken seriously, at least. That's one of the first things you can do. But I want to see that you give a shit. I only want to give money to people who know how to rain dance. I only want to give money to people who sit and believe that the rain dance is the answer. I like rain dancers. I like people who sit and say, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do something. I don't know what to do, so I'm going to just Do something positive. I don't know how to make Bitcoin go up. I'm going to buy an old lady groceries. I don't know what to do, but inaction in and of itself is an action. And men of honor do not allow the universe to decide for them. They decide their fate. And you decide your fate with hard work and vigor in all things. In fact, I would argue that a lot of you probably heard about Bitcoin in 2007 or 2009 or 2011, whenever. But you were so uninterested in doing your due diligence, so uninterested in being proactive that you just ignored it. You probably don't even remember being told about it because you didn't give a shit. Yeah. And then you have the gall and audacity to sit here and say, if someone told me about Bitcoin back then, I'd be rich. No, you wouldn't. If you're the kind of person who would have got rich from Bitcoin back then, you're the kind of person who can get rich right now by taking action, by paying attention. If you're refusing to do the right things now, you would have never done the right things. And retrospectively identifying your failures and identifying how many right things you've missed out on is actually a form of hard cope. Oh no, I just don't have the chances. You've had chances and wasted them. And you have another chance right now to do your rain dance. You have a chance. You're sitting here right now during a chance. You have a chance from God because you're breathing. You have a chance right now to get things done. Now, you can retrospectively look back on this period of time and go, oh, yeah, I was young and energetic, but I wasted it. But if someone had just told me to try hard at this, I would have been. I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you about Bitcoin in 2009, but you're not going to do anything. It's almost impressive how difficult it is to make the average person move. The average person is a statue getting shit on by the pigeons, and they'd rather just sit there covered in shit than move. It's very hard to inspire people to take initiative to save themselves. It's incredible. Why? When they know that it's going to work. Some people are just born to lose. These are people who are betrayed by their own mind and can't be influenced even from the external because their own mind betrays them. There's a devil on their shoulder constantly holding them back. When you watch old kung fu movies and you see a master and he has chi, I totally understand the danger of a man with endless chi, endless internal power that he can convert into anything he wants it to be, whether it be mental fortitude at the time, physical fortitude, whether he can exert it as an attack. Chi is a super real thing, and it's self-generated. It is a decision. I want you to understand how my mind works. My core principle is endless work. Endless attack. That is how you win in the end. You never give up and you endlessly persevere. It's hard to destroy the man who endlessly perseveres. Perseverance is the key. It is very easy to accept an L when you've tried your best. It's easy. The reason I don't like that saying, well, as long as you tried your best, is because most people don't try their best. If you do try your best, it's very rare you fail. In fact, it's nearly impossible. People say, it's okay to lose if you tried your best. The secret to the universe is if you try your best, you hardly ever lose. It takes some freak accident or the will of God to ensure that you don't pull it off if you actually try your best. And on the few scenarios that's happened in my life, I'm happy to take the L because I can say I couldn't have tried any harder. I done my absolute best. I know I did my best. I can't try any harder. God knows more than me, and he decided that things have to be slightly different right now. That's fine. It's easy to take the L if you try your best. So if you try your best, you never feel the bitter sting of regret. You never feel the dark rankness. You never taste failure. It's never in your mouth. It's never lucid. It's never tangible because you approached the scenario with absolute vigor. And truthfully, effort is a muscle, like everything else. The more you exercise it, the better it becomes. So even if you try for 100% for something and fail, you've exercised your effort muscle, which means you haven't failed because you've learned something and become better at giving effort to things. You've become better at being concentrated on a task. So it's nearly impossible to fail in these scenarios. A lot of sayings are overused, never a failure, always a lesson. And that's what's annoying about it, because it's true, but it's rarely applicable. You guys will say it's never a failure, it's always a lesson when you didn't even try. That's wrong. That's a failure. But if you absolutely try your best, then it is a lesson, and there are benefits, right? It's like going for a PB in the gym. You may not get the PB, but your muscles get stronger because you tried so hard. That's how every single task should be approached. I'm trying to lift as much as possible. Perhaps I failed, but because I tried so hard and I strained so hard, my muscles ache and I got stronger anyway. Meaning I did not fail at the task of becoming stronger. There were tangible benefits to my effort in and of itself. Making things happen is the masculine essence to how you should approach the world. Work harder than ever before to be monumentally rewarded more than ever before. It's also about pleasing the universe and showing that you are prepared to put your concentrated calories, the calories you consume, you're prepared to put them into something. You're only going to be rewarded if you differentiate yourself from the crowd via effort. A lot of people don't know how to try anymore, but we are not like that. We know better. We know how to try. That's why we always endlessly win. You should feel genuinely worried about wasting a single second, because you can't let the winners keep dunking on you. I've spoken at length about how the world is getting harder and harder. This is true. This is easy to observe. Everybody knows it. There are people out there in the world who are going to try hard to change that dynamic because they don't believe they can ever be rich. There are people who are going to sit and say, I don't want the rich to get richer and the poor to get poorer because I'm poor. And there's other people who sit and say, I like it this way. I like this challenge. I like that the game is rigged because now if I get rich, I get richer. That's how rich people think. Winners think, I have no problem with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer because I'm going to be one of the rich ones. Losers think, no, we need to spread it all out. If you accept the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer, then you need to be prepared to do whatever it takes to win the game. Just like a video game. The harder the level, the greater the difficulty, the larger the high score at the end. I mean, you should try every day anyway, but let's assume you're the kind of person who can't try every day because you don't have that grit and consistency. If you're not going to pull your finger out now and finally try in these few days, when are you going to try? When are better chances going to come? Because they're actually right in front of you. This is a huge important period in your life when it comes to your success and your finances. If you're not going to try now, when are you going to try?
The world has become exceptionally easy for a lot of men. It used to be a different place. Most men were cannon fodder. Most of us would have ended up in wars dying for fucking no reason.
Damn.
Now we don't have to do that. So because we don't have to do that, men think it's okay to just become comfortable now. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You were never evolved to be comfortable. You're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And if you make yourself uncomfortable constructively, it's very easy to be anything you want. You talk about GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I know the game. I used to play the old one on the PlayStation 1 when I was a child.
Which one?
I haven't played any.
Which one? You talk about San Andreas?
Very first one.
Vice City, GTA 3? Yeah.
Oh, the very, 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 very first one, like 1994.
Okay.
Old school.
Okay.
But I've never played any of those games, but I find it amazing that people will sit there and spend all their time upgrading that character, making as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, getting some hoes, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I find that incredible. Like my life is GTA. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll fucking buy it. If I want a car, I'll fucking buy it. I want a bitch, I'll get her. It's me. I am GTA. I don't see why people play the games. They play the games because they're scared of loss. Because if you die in the game, you get another chance. If you lose in the game, you get another chance. In life, you get one shot.
Damn,
But if you get some balls, that's what life is as a game. That's what life is as a man. This is one big video game. You get to upgrade your character. You're not born with any value. All these women that you just put me on with are born with value. They're pretty already. They're gorgeous already. They're good looking enough. Even if they're a 5, someone's going to give a shit they exist because someone wants to fuck them. As a man, if you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. Just like a video game. You start with fucking 0. You have to decide if you want to complete it. You have to upgrade your character. So I find it amazing that men are going to play video games and fuck about and waste their time instead of upgrading their character. Everyone knows what to do. You know what you have to do.
You're right.
If you had to become the most dangerous, intelligent, respectable man on the planet, you know you're supposed to go to the gym. You know you're supposed to train, learn how to fight. You know all these things. You don't do them. That's your decision. It's your prerogative. I didn't make that choice.
I made the choice to do it all. I decided all of it. That every single man watching this can do the exact same thing, which is why I have very little pity when I do these streams and people think I'm arrogant or I'm rude to people, or even to you earlier when I was making jokes and I've been joking with the girls
You're
saying
good,
drink the
bro.
soy latte.
I'm not, yeah.
Of course. And I know we're only joking, right? But the point is that's a conscious decision you made. I would never make fun of someone who hasn't got a choice. I wouldn't make fun of someone born with one
I
arm.
have a choice though.
But if you've
right.
made a fucking decision to be less than you should be, then I believe you should be mocked for that decision.
I agree.
I
I
didn't
feel
make
like,
that.
because like you're not living up to your full potential. Like it's your choice to basically not live up to your full potential.
Completely. And me as a man, when I put myself through hell, when I have had such exacting, such stringent standards for myself, why would I then have less exacting, stringent standards on the people I meet?
Damn.
Why would I put myself through hell to be me and then meet someone who didn't put themselves through hell and then treat them like my equal? No, fuck you. I suffered when you didn't. So you're not my equal because you decided not to suffer. You have enjoyed comfort when I haven't, and that's fine, but don't expect me to look at you as my equal because you're not. I'll snap your fucking neck.
Andrew,
That's the world.
Andrew, I have like a lot of friends around me. They're like good friends. Don't get me wrong. Like they're real friends, but like they're incredibly like lazy and they have so much potential. Like they could be big. They could be getting rich, all this shit, bro. But like they choose not to. So, but it's really hard because I love them. They're my friends and I came up with these guys and they're so entertaining. I love them. They're my brothers, but like.
I understand, but but there's something that's very always kind of confused me. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's what you're going to end up like. They say, yeah, that's true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, et cetera, et cetera. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever, but I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. You wouldn't want to be, if you were to come hang out with me and you were in a room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious.
You're right.
You don't feel self with your friends.
Cause you only surround yourself around people that are on like your level of like.
I'm with killers. We're fucking monsters. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious, and that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who ain't a fucking monster, you'd want to become a monster. That's life. That's humanity. So I say this to people all the time. If you know you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, why you hang around with people you don't want to be?
Nah, it's true, bro. I'm gonna tell you why, right? I was, do you know who I Show Speed is?
No.
He's this other creator that's like obviously like in my space. I was staying with him in September and like I would literally like be on my shit like every day, like grinding, like at what I'm grinding, right? And like when he left, I had like no one around me to basically like kind of like on my, or like, so it shows.
I get it.
Yeah.
And that's why I live in a competitive environment. I live with my brother, my cousin. I live with men. We have a big house. We could all afford fucking 10 houses each. We live together on purpose. If my brother does 500 push-ups, I ain't going to be the bitch at the house. I ain't going to not do them.
Right.
So that's another reason the war room exists. My organization, the reason it's so competitive is the reason we kick people out. You have to fight to keep.
Even if they pay, you're like, I don't give a fuck. Get out. Like,
I don't give a fuck. Get out. I'm out. It doesn't matter. Everyone pays to join. You get kicked out anyway. You have to fight to keep your place. That's the whole.
Damn.
That's because that's how life was. If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter. And I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become.
Wow.
God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. Do you understand?
Bro, you got like the best fucking mentality, like brain, like ethic I've ever seen in my fucking life. What the fuck? Everything you're saying is just like that you've said. It's literally facts. I agree with like 100% of everything. So why do we, okay, here's another question. Do you notice that like human beings, naturally, we don't care about things until it's gone. Like we don't appreciate what we have until it's gone. You know what I'm trying to say? Like appreciation. Like, correct. Why is that? Why do you think that? And do you feel that way? Like, are you very grateful? Are you appreciate what you have? Like, you know, how to speak on that?
Yeah, that's a mental trick. You have to rewire your brain. That's one of the things you have to rewire your brain to do. And the reason your brain needs to be rewired is because anyone who is watching this stream below the age of 30, your brain is already broken. And I'll tell you it's broken. I'll tell you why. Watch your friends when they're on TikTok. How long can they even focus on a video before they have to change? Half a second, a second,
Damn.
Maybe. All of your minds are broken. You can't even focus on anything anymore.
You're right.
You are constantly distracted to the point where you can't even appreciate the good things in your life. You're distracted. Your minds are broken. You need to rewire your mind and resist the slave programming.
How?
They have I'll tell you how. First thing you have to do is identify it. You have to identify what is happening to you. I use my mind to break the trap. What I do is I allow my enemy to manipulate me on purpose. And then I use my mind to break the trap and punish the perpetrators. I will sit on TikTok for a day and I'll just enjoy TikTok. And by the end of the day, I'll watch myself. How quickly I'm looking to be entertained, how little time I give a video, how fucked up I am. And then I'll blink and I'll cure my fucking brain. You must allow yourself to be manipulated and you must fix it. All of it. You just talked about not appreciating the things you have. Then blink and cure your brain. It's a conscious decision. You're letting other people control your mind.
Distraction.
The Matrix is trying to control your mind. They're very good at it. That's what they do to control all of us. You have to break the trap. If you cannot control your own mind, let me make this point because it's extremely important. If you cannot control your own mind, then you are just a feather in the wind of life because your own mind is the only thing you can control. You can't control the weather. Right. You can't control other people. You can't even control whether your heart stops beating. You might have a heart attack tomorrow. You can't control anything besides what you think. If you cannot control your own mind, then you go through life with zero control, zero influence. You can't control anything. You're just a feather in the wind, waiting for life to blow you from happy place to sad place to happy place to sad place, completely hoping on the gods to be fortunate to you because if any genuine discomfort comes your way, you're fucked. It is trained like everything else in life. It is trained. So if you find yourself not appreciating what you have until it's gone, then you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to focus or concentrate on tasks, you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to go and dedicate yourself to something you don't want to do, you must blink and cure your brain because all of our minds have been under constant assault for years. The way the mind functions, the way people interact has changed so significantly in the last 10 years, you wouldn't believe. If you go to a party today, as opposed to a party 10 years ago, they look completely different. People are acting differently. People are on their phones now than ever used to be. Even now, people will go to places only to get an Instagram picture, even if they don't enjoy the place.
Wow.
It's all about pretending they're having fun as opposed to actually having fun. The entire paradigm of society and how we interact has now changed.
Not only do you lack fire, you lack imagination. Because when you're poor, let me tell you something poor people do all the time. You imagine. My brother and I used to sit around and talk about what could be if only we managed to get it out. How it would feel to have this car. How it would feel to be in this place. How it would feel to be famous and internationally renowned. How it would feel to go to Saint-Tropez and live on a yacht. How it would feel to be able to fly on private planes. How it would feel to not have to worry about food anymore. My brother and I used to imagine for hours. We used to talk about it. We believed in this version of reality where we somehow made it. But if you're in the middle, you don't do that. You don't want it enough to talk about it and imagine over the temporary dopamine and entertainment you can achieve from the fucking PlayStation your mother bought you because your parents have enough money for PlayStations. We didn't have one. We couldn't get one. We couldn't afford it. I'd like to be rich, but Netflix is on and the TV's on and mom's just brought me a Capri Sun.
The heating's on.
I'm not cold. Everything's fine. So you don't sit and imagine deep in your soul. Not only do you lack fire, not only do you lack motivation, you lack imagination. And that's why it's very important. You need to start believing you are the fucking man, even if you're not yet. Before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be world champion. You have to believe these things. Poor people imagine escaping. And rich people have duty to their last name, which is instilled in them. So they are born and raised to be winners. Your parents are not doing that. Your parents aren't even saying you need to be rich because your last name is X. They're not saying that. They're saying, well, I want you to follow your passion and I want you to be happy. And, you need to go to school. Just get a degree and get a mortgage. And as long as you're happy. It's bullshit. They are poisoning you.
Because you will not be happy.
You better get some fucking money. What do you mean you want to follow your dreams? What do you mean you're tired? What do you mean you want to go to fucking therapy? What do you mean you want to just sit around and play video games? You better get some money, you little bitch.
Deliver those newspapers.
Yeah, go get a fucking job. Go work at a gas station. I don't give a shit. Get some money. Go get some money. And we used to sit there struggling to make money as teenagers, giving it all away to our parents to keep the house functioning, dreaming of a world where we didn't have to do that anymore. We had imagination and we had hunger and fire. You don't have those things. That's why you're fucked. Do you not understand? It doesn't matter how tired I get when I fight. I'm never actually tired because I am so desperate to hurt my opponent. I am more desperate to hurt him than I am tired. In all realms, forever. That is the hunger and motivation. That's why boxers start poor. That's why fighters are poor. There's a different mentality they're born with. They imagine being champion. They're prepared to do anything it takes. They have hunger and fire inside of them. There's no fucking middle class champions. None. So it's extremely important you develop your imagination as well as your fire. And I'm saying this to you because there's a whole bunch of you who don't realize how badly you've failed. You were born somewhere in the middle and you're still somewhere in the middle. You grew up in some middle class fucking household. Your parents had a car. Your parents had jobs. They had a mortgage. They paid their house off. You've now moved out. You got some fucking average ass apartment in Miami. You fucked the odd girl. You got some Audi. You make a little bit of money. You think you're a G. You're a fucking nobody. You've not even managed to surpass your parents. You haven't elevated on any level. You're exactly where they fucking were. You're at the same fucking place. And I'm telling you, unless you get into the ultra wealthy, unless you're in a position like my brother and I, where you can spend millions and millions of dollars a day for the rest of human time, eventually you're going to end up some degree of slave. You need to start imagining what actual freedom is. You need to start seeing beyond the confines of your comfort. You need to start developing the hunger it's going to take for you to elevate to the highest possible echelons and stop being enslaved by your comfort, because that's what you're enslaved by. It's extremely important. What have you done today which is going to positively affect the outcome of your future? How many of you at home have actively tried to network today? Learned something new today? When have you sat and imagined your dream life? When have you self-analyzed and self-reflected and tried to work out where you've gone wrong to end up such a mediocre specimen of man? Why can't you go down to the dealer and buy a brand new Lamborghini right now? Why not? Is it a lack of money? Is it a lack of, what is it? Is it only money? Are you afraid if you buy one you'll get robbed? Are you a pussy? What is stopping you? Have you even thought about any of these things? Has it even crossed your mind? It's extremely important, gentlemen, that you understand the chessboard and understand exactly where you are so you can make changes. Most of you are not actively building a future. You're not actively trying to build the dream life that you want to have. and then you expect it to just appear. Do you know why? Because when you were born in the middle, your parents put food in the fridge. It just appeared. The heating was just on because it was cold outside. Do you not understand when you were born here and it was cold outside and you said, Mom, it's cold, can we put the heating on? She'd say, do you have any fucking money?
Put on a sweater. Sweaters are free.
You'd say, no, I don't have any money. You ain't got any money. Why do you want the heater on? It's like, because I ain't got any well, it's cold. Well, then get some fucking money. We were taught, if you want something, get money. Mom, I'm hungry. You got any money? No. Well, then you're hungry. Bitch, get some money. We knew. You never had that problem. You think your dream life's going to just appear on your doorstep because food just appeared in your fridge and the heating just fucking turned on. It was given to you by your fucking parents and they have neutered you. They've taken away your fucking spirit of resistance, your spirit to conquest and fight back. That's why people at the bottom, we understand intricately. We understand this viscerally. We understand that nothing is going to come to us unless we go out there and get it ourselves. And once you have that, you have endless motivation for all things. That is extremely important. You may never be poor, but you'll never matter. You'll be somewhere here in the middle forever. Because you know what? It's not just in the middle financially. It's the middle in all ways.
You're not strong.
You're not strong. Yeah. You're not unique. Women can't smell warrior on you. Your woman cheats on you. Your woman back talks you. You think a rich man has to deal with that? No. Because otherwise she doesn't get to go on the boat. You think a poor man has to deal with that? No. Because otherwise she gets domestic violenced. Only you in the middle are having a fucking female run her mouth to you and you're going, please babe, calm down. All because you're such a fucking pussy, you won't do what it takes to have an essence of superiority and power about you. It's truly incredible how lazy you are if you're prepared to spend your only spin of this earth living a subpar experience purely because you cannot find the fire inside of you to get up and get things done. God wants to see you take care of what he has given you. Nobody continues to give gifts to the ungrateful. This is absolutely true about life, except the people who are most likely to get gifts when they're ungrateful are the idiots in the middle. When you're at the bottom, you don't get gifts at all. If you do, you better fucking show you're grateful for it or you're never going to get it again. At the top, if they give you money or give you gifts, they expect you to go out there and do something fantastic with it, like they would do, because they have high expectations of themselves and their bloodline. But if you're in the middle, you're allowed to fuck up. Do you think Baron Trump is going to be allowed to fuck up with Trump's money? Doubt it. Do you think the people at the bottom are allowed to fuck up with a few dollars in the house? No. You know who's allowed to fuck up? You. Somewhere in the middle, you can borrow a bit of money. You can, oops, I got in debt. Oops, I gamble. Oops, I'm a dummy. You can oops. And guess what? They'll bail your stupid ass out. You will never truly feel the sting of rock bottom. And that's why you're going to stay where you are. I'm going to build my wealth in 22 years. 22 fucking years? That's how much time you have? That's how much food's in your fridge, you little bitch? You're going to sit around and just wait 22 years? People die in our world. We don't have 22 fucking years. We have things to do. We have to go and get it. We have hunger inside of us. You are so lazy. Most of you have a plan to get rich in 3 years from now, and that's fine. You don't understand you could get rich in 3 weeks if you tried.
So you said that a lot of influence and power can create ego.
I didn't say can create ego. I said these people are absolutely and utterly deeply egotistical to a level that an average person can't possibly understand.
Wow. Okay. So has your power created that in you?
Completely.
When I met you, you were really nice and humble and we were chatting.
And so would they be, right? But if I had an employee and I said, do this, and they said, I ain't doing that. I'm like, well, then you're fucking fired. Oh, but I have to pay a mortgage. Don't care. Bye. I can turn ruthless just like anybody else, right?
Well, a lot of people can't, can they?
Well, but you don't become powerful if you can't be ruthless.
Yeah.
This is the unfortunate reality: is the people who become most powerful in the world are people who have the capability to be ruthless. This is what it is. Power is only attractive to people who want to yield it. Why would you want power if you're not going to wield it? Why would you want a sword if you never take it out? Right? If you give a guy a gun, he's going to, even if he doesn't want to shoot you, when you wave it around a bit, he's just going to put it in the drawer and close it and never touch it again. Right? So the people in life who never try to become powerful, maybe they're the ones who can sit and say, I wouldn't do that. Well, but you're never going to be powerful, so who cares? The people who aim for power and crave power, they crave it to use it, right? And I'm not saying that I'm any better than these people who are in charge of the world. I'm sitting saying this is human nature to a degree. I try my very best to live true to God, and I know that I try and do good things. But the people in charge of the world perhaps believe that their ideas are good. They're opposite to mine, right? So they may have the idea that we should teach children about sex at 3 years old. I believe we should leave the children alone. They believe their idea is good. I believe my idea is good. And if I was in charge of the world and somebody tried to do the opposite idea, teach children about sex at 3 years old, I'd be the one saying, absolutely no, shut them up. I'd do the same thing. Do you understand? So I'm no better than these people. We're all human. I just truly believe that my views are better than theirs. But they believe the same the opposite way around. And that's what's so difficult about it. That's what's so sad about the world. If you look at any war, it's never good guy versus bad guy. Everyone has their opinions, right? But it's always a gray mess of some guy's got a good point, the other guy's kind of got a good point. Everyone's half good, half bad. And that's the unfortunate reality of Earth. So yeah, it's a strange one. But I absolutely, completely will sit here and say, yes, if I had absolute power, then I would wield it completely, just like they are. I get it. I get it. And that's why I know they want me gone. Because I know I know what happens when you're a powerful person and someone keeps poking you. I know what happens. And I know that not only from this world, I know it from the underworld. I've had a very long and interesting life. In a previous incarnation, I was involved in some shady things. And
are you talking about another life before your own life?
Let's put it that way.
Okay. So not in the 35 years you've been here, another life.
For legal reasons, let's say another life.
Okay.
And I've been in rooms with people who sit around and say, this guy's a problem.
As in they're talking about you?
Or no, I've been in the room and we're talking about somebody else.
Right.
This guy's a problem.
In another life.
In another life.
Yeah.
And the problem gets fixed. This is natural.
As in the person goes away.
One way or another.
So are you talking like, is this like what might have happened to Diana, this kind of thing? Is this what you're saying?
I'm talking about, okay, let's take a hypothetical again. Let's say you have 5 drug dealers in a room and a drug dealer keeps robbing them. What are they going to do? They're going to get robbed forever? I'm going to say, no, this is a problem. How do we fix this problem? Well, we've tried to talk to him. He won't talk. He's unreasonable. Okay, get rid of him. That's business. That's life, right?
Well, it's not business.
It's that business. Yeah, and I'm saying that even from the bottom levels of the socioeconomic scale all the way to the top levels of the socioeconomic scale, there becomes a point where the only solution to the problem is violence. Most people don't understand that the entire world we live in is absolutely and utterly violent. I see violence everywhere. If I see a big tree, I don't think, oh, wow, that's a big, beautiful tree. I sit and go, that tree destroyed every tree anywhere near it. Its root system is 2 miles long. It's been kicking trees' asses for 100 years. That is a badass tree, right? It's a violent tree. And every single thing about civilized society is underpinned on violence. The idea that violence will eventually appear is the only reason any of this works. If I drive through Dubai too fast, the camera will go off and I'll get a speeding ticket. If I ignore the speeding ticket, they'll add money to the speeding ticket. If I don't pay that, they'll send a bailiff. If I tell him to get fucked, they'll send the police. If I tell them to get fucked, they'll arrest me. If I refuse, violence. It doesn't matter what law, what tax code, anything you can think of. If you disobey long enough, it comes back to the bottom line. The bottom line is always violence. So if you talk to somebody and they don't listen, if you try and reason with somebody, they won't listen. You try and bribe someone, they won't take it. It gets to a point where there's one answer left. Well, then teach them a lesson. And most people don't understand this about the world. And I was having a conversation with a woman once. She said she was a pacifist. And I had to correct her. And I said, you're absolutely not a pacifist. You may be incapable of violence because you're a female, but you believe in violence because if I were to attack you, you'd call the police. And you want violence by proxy to protect you. You believe in violence because you believe in law and order. You can't be a pacifist amongst savagery, right? You like the idea of living in society. You like the idea of your house being yours. Well, why is it yours? It's yours because it's enforced by a legal contract that the government will enforce with a police force, with violence. The whole world's violent. Everything's violent. So I don't think most people understand and realize that you're saying it's not business when I say that drug dealers are violent. I completely and utterly disagree. It is business. If a company sues another company and they owe a bunch of money and they don't pay it, we can go down the same route. Guess what happens in the end? They end up taking the CEO's house. He doesn't want to give it up. They send a police officers around and said, you were due to get evicted today. I ain't leaving. Guess what? Violence. Business is violence. Life is violence. It's all violence. We put a nice little happy sugar coat on top of it. But that's the truth of the world.
Hey, before you go, if you want to watch the full uncut interview with Andrew Tate, no holds barred, like you've never seen before, you can watch it here. And before you go, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And remember, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.
When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's what you're going to end up like. They say, yeah, that's true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, et cetera, et cetera. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever. But I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. You wouldn't want to be, if you were to come hang out with me and you were in a room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious.
You're right.
You don't feel self with your friends.
Because you only surround yourself around people that are on like your level of like.
I'm with killers. I'm with killers. We're fucking monsters. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious. And that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who ain't a fucking monster, you'd want to become a monster. That's life. That's humanity. So I say this to people all the time. If you know you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, why are you hanging around with people you don't want to be? Brother does 500 push-ups. I ain't going to be the bitch in the house. I ain't going to not do them. So that's another reason the war room exists. My organization, the reason it's so competitive is the reason we kick people out. You have to fight.
Even if they pay, you're like, I don't give a fuck. Get out. Like,
I don't give a fuck. Get out. Out. It doesn't matter. Everyone pays to join. You get kicked out anyway. You have to fight to keep your place. That's the whole.
Damn.
That's because that's how life was. If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter. And I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become. God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I can squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. Watch your friends when they're on TikTok. How long can they even focus on a video before they have to change? Half a second, a second.
Damn.
All of your minds are broken. You can't even focus on anything anymore.
You're right.
You are constantly distracted to the point where you can't even appreciate the good things in your life. You're distracted. Your minds are broken. You need to rewire your mind and resist the slave programming.
How?
I'll tell you how. First thing you have to do is identify it. You have to identify what is happening to you. I use my mind to break the trap. What I do is I allow my enemy to manipulate me on purpose. And then I use my mind to break the trap and punish the perpetrators. I will sit on TikTok for a day and I'll just enjoy TikTok. And by the end of the day, I'll watch myself. How quickly I'm looking to be entertained, how little time I give a video, how fucked up I am. And then I'll blink and I'll cure my fucking brain. You must allow yourself to be manipulated and you must fix it. All of it. You just talked about not appreciating the things you have. Then blink and cure your brain. It's not difficult. There's just no competition.
because everybody's fucking distracted. They're getting distracted by this, distracted by that, watching fucking Netflix, jerking off to Pornhub like fucking jackasses. It's so easy to win if you can control your own mind. But it seems that nobody fucking can. And that's how the people who run the world keep the world running, because they have all the slaves exactly where they need them to be, permanently distracted and semi-depressed, working their asses off in jobs which will never satisfy them and never pay enough money. That's the matrix. Do what I'm supposed to do. It's not a matter of how I feel or how I'm motivated. If I was depressed, it's impossible, but if I was depressed, my life would be, and the day-to-day activities would be exactly the same as if I was ecstatically happy. You wouldn't be able to see a difference. I'd be up at the same time. I'd be in the gym the same. I'd be doing the same shit. Those are my duties my duties to God. How I feel has nothing to do with it. Completely unrelated. How I feel is unrelated to my duties to God. They don't change based on how I feel. They're the same. And they will be completed because I refuse to fail God or my bloodline. You could take 150,000 of these people and travel back in time and stand them in front of their ancestors. And their ancestors who fought fucking saber-toothed tigers or escaped the Mongol hordes or managed to dodge bombs in the Second World War. All the shit they went through just for this fucking cretin to be born. And to look at him, look at who he is, listen to his life story, listen to what he does on a day-to-day basis, and they would feel nothing but fucking shame. Your ancestors did all that shit, all that struggling to survive, hunting and gathering, fucking avoiding enemies, anything it took, dying at age 30 from a tooth infection, all the crap they went through just for you to be born so you could smoke weed and jack off. That's what your ancestors died for. That's what they worked so hard for. If you were born 100 years ago and it was the 1920s, you'd be in some ditch in northern France, living in the fucking mud, hoping not to get killed by a random sniper in some bullshit war you barely understand for 4 years. Then you'd come home and hope your wife hasn't been bombed.
Yo!
You understand? But that's the world. That's the world. The world has become exceptionally easy for a lot of men. It used to be a different place. Most men were cannon fodder. Most of us would have ended up in wars dying for fucking no reason.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to do that. So because we don't have to do that, men think it's okay to just become comfortable now. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You were never evolved to be comfortable. You're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And if you make yourself uncomfortable constructively, it's very easy to be anything you want. I find it amazing that people will sit there and spend all their time upgrading that character, making as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, getting some hoes, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I find that incredible. My life is GTA. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll fucking buy it. If I want a car, I'll fucking buy it. I want a bitch, I'll get her. It's me. I am GTA. I don't see why people play the games. They play the games because they're scared of loss. Because if you die in the game, you get another chance. If you lose in the game, you get another chance. In life, you get one shot.
Damn, that's...
But if you get some balls, that's what life is as a game. That's what life is as a man. This is one big video game. You get to upgrade your character. You're not born with any value. All these women that you just put me on with are born with value. They're pretty already. They're gorgeous already. They're good looking enough. Even if they're a 5, someone's going to give a shit they exist because someone wants to fuck them. As a man, if you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. Just like a video game. You start with fucking 0. You have to decide if you want to complete it. You have to upgrade your character. So I find it amazing that men are going to play video games and fuck about and waste their time instead of upgrading their character. Everyone knows what to do. You know what you have to do.
You're right.
If you had to become the most dangerous, intelligent, respectable man on the planet, you know you're supposed to go to the gym. You know you're supposed to train, learn how to fight. You know all these things. You don't do them. That's your decision. It's your prerogative. I didn't make that choice. I made the choice to do it all. I decided all. And every single man watching this can do the exact same thing, which is why I have very little pity. I'd never make fun of someone who hasn't got a choice. I wouldn't make fun of someone born with one.
I have a choice though.
But if you've
right.
made a fucking decision to be less than you should be, then I believe you should be mocked for that decision.
I agree. I feel like, yeah, because like you're not living up to your full potential. Like it's your choice to basically not live up to your full potential.
Completely. And me as a man, when I put myself through hell, when I have had such exacting, such stringent standards for myself, why would I then have less exacting, stringent standards on the people I meet?
Why would I put myself through hell to be me and then meet someone who didn't put themselves through hell and then treat them like my equal? No, fuck you. I suffered when you didn't. So you're not my equal because you decided not to suffer. You have enjoyed comfort when I haven't, and that's fine, but don't expect me to look at you as my equal because you're not. I'll snap your fucking neck. I can't imagine a mind frame or a mindset where I want to do something and can't do it.
Right.
So it's almost difficult for me to answer that question, because if you have that kind of mind, if your mind is so fundamentally broken that you cannot do with your own mind what you want to do,
right,
you know, like that, then you're just fucked, right? Life is hierarchical. There's always going to be kings and there's always going to be peasants. If you have a mind that you can't control, then you're never going to be a king. You're going to be a peasant. That's your life. You have a peasant's life ahead of you, and that's your destiny. Enjoy, right? There's always been peasants. That's life. But I believe that, I mean, the most important thing you can do as a man is to gain control of your mind. Once you have control of your mind, life is so ridiculously easy. It's so ridiculously easy. It's so easy to be in. People say to me, Tate, you're in good shape, but all you do is drink vodka and travel the world. You're never even home. You never even have a gym. How do you do it? It's ridiculously easy if you control your mind. If I decide to do 1,000 push-ups, I'll do them. Maybe I have to do them one at a time. Maybe I'll get tired. Maybe I need a break. I'm going to do 1,000 because I said I'm going to do 1,000. It's not fucking hard. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Once you control your mind, it's easy, right? Getting over a breakup with that bitch. You miss that girl, you're upset, you miss her with all your heart, da-da-da. But once you realize she's gone, if you control your mind, she's gone now. She's gone now, I'm going to miss her. That's a shame. Off to the gym. But like, you either control your mind or you don't. And all of these things stem from the same problem. It's something you can do. It's something that is learned. It's something that is taught. But it's something that I needed to survive. So for me, it's easy, right? It's all I've ever known.
right.
But people have now they don't need it to survive, so they never develop the skill. That's just how it works. At the end of World War II, when men went to Europe and saw unspeakable horrors at the end of World War II, did they all come home and need therapy, or did they all come home and get back to life?
Back to life.
Because everyone was taught to have a mind that they control because they needed it to survive. There's no one else. That's how life worked back then.